Oh my god.
Vote 1 for 1.
What? 141 octane. Wait. Any.
141 experience points.
That's a lot of XP.
Depends what you're playing and what level you're at.
I am playing life.
If we were playing Pathfinder 2nd Edition, it would take like 10 streams, maybe a little bit less than that, and then you'll level up.
Your DM should be more generous on the XP. Just make it rain XP. Anywho, you know the drill. If you got art, please feel free to submit it. If you don't, please feel free to submit other humans to the stream. Tutorial. Wait, there's a tutorial for... I guess there is. You just read the book and then you make up stuff as you go. It's great. Just that's D&D in a nutshell.
Pretty much. Imagination.
Yeah, so same rules as always. Fire your art towards our faces, and we'll try and catch it without having it go right through.
Ooh.
Boo! Alright.
Not art pellets, though. They have to be like foam pellets with like little pictures strapped to the end.
Yeah, Nerf dart style.
Yeah.
You can ask KT about the best Nerf guns. So let's start off with the pictures. First up is Lulu's evil twin Ululu. It is Critique a Mare and her Bulborb. Bulborb.
But oh, is that a Pikmin thing? I
Yes. Yes, it is.
don't know the name. But yeah.
I think I would have to look at it.
Things
References.
that, like eat your Pikmin or something.
Yeah, they do. Let me just... Bulborb. I need a reference. That is not how you spell that. There we go. Okay, so they do have faces like that. All right. I'm going to be honest. I didn't have Pikmin as a kid. I only watched other people play it. So, sorry about not having the information of the creatures in it. So let's do this. There isn't any critique on it. People just complimenting the what's going on here. They're asking how to shade this properly instead of just filling it with flat colors and simple shadows. Their version is simple shadow. Oh, they're looking for how to do it as the smooth transition style, like that. Posted into the chat. All right.
Let's have a look. Ooh.
That takes work to get to. A whole
Very
lot of
much.
work.
And that's a digital painting type thing. That's completely different from the ground up, different process. Like you'd have to completely relearn how to do this instead of what you're doing now. It's not a matter of how do I make what I have here look like this, unless you want to just like take the entire image you have, lower the opacity, and then just like start painting on top of that, just straight with color. Because the whole point is it's lineless, so you don't draw lines, which is why I struggle with it.
So there's a few different approaches at doing that. The one View Raster will preach, and you'll see inside of our beginner guides on it. And if you subscribe to his what is that thing? Patreon, he'll make tutorials on it. Anyway, basically the idea is you build up the subject with a base drawing, and then you use it as a base layer to start painting in grayscale on top of it. And when you have the grayscale form done, then you can fill that grayscale form with color by painting additional layers on top of it. And you're using basically an additive color method along with grayscale layers to do it. It's a lot more complicated than even that sounds, which still over heads.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, even like it's all so complicated. This is why I struggle so much with doing this. It's such a process, man.
So
But if
here's
that's what you want to do, then you can. It just takes dedication.
totally. My suggestion: go to our tutorials on our side. There are quite a few on getting to a few steps before this, where you start building up shape and color to actually get those smooth shadows. You want to pay attention to the lighting guides specifically. You're going to have to spend a few months to years learning how to do or how to work out lighting and form. They're going to be your two major factors in this one. And I know I just said a few years. The reason I say that is because, I mean, look at Fluffy's eye. The dude's been doing it for what, 6 years now? And
I've been doing it for over a decade.
Okay, over a decade, and he's still not there. Like, he's not to this picture.
Still a long way to go.
His horses are adorable. They ain't smooth renderings.
If I was trying to go for this sort of drawing style, which is not really the kind of thing that I really want to go for ultimately, but if I was, it would definitely take another several years to get to that point.
Don't let this be too intimidating to say don't go there. You are just asking, how do I get to this far off point?
About having a reasonable expectation, but you know, understanding that time is a factor. That I like. This is how I started drawing, because one of the people I looked up to that sort of got me into drawing was about, I think, 24, 25 at the time, and I was like 14. So the idea of a decade happening was something I literally could not conceive of at that age, because you don't remember a decade of time passing. So it's like I was like, I'm not going to get drawing for this. I'm not going to get good at drawing for this inconceivable amount of time. It's just not going to happen at any time that I can actually imagine happening. So you know, that took pressure off, and it was like, I'm just going to draw and enjoy drawing what I do, and continue trying to make each piece better in whatever way I can. And you know, that starts off really, really slowly. You improve very slowly, and then it gets faster and faster the better you get, and the better understanding of art you get. And eventually, by the time I got to that age, you know, when I was like 25, I was like, oh, I'm actually better than the artist I was at that time. But just it helped a lot having that understanding of the time passage and not being impatient to get good or perfect too quickly, because that is like not true. That's not something that's going to happen. Perfect doesn't exist, and you're just sort of setting yourself up to get frustrated. So understand, you know, I'm just going to keep pushing forward a little bit at a time. Learn, I'm going to try, even if you just do something really simple to begin with. Start with like just shapes and how to put together colors and lighting before you start forming characters, or, you know, just trying out different ways of approaching it and learning about what it means and how it feels like. If you keep pushing it a little bit at a time, you will eventually get there. And I think having that patience is important.
Yes. If I could push you a different direction, though, instead of trying to focus on how to build up shadows like that, because all that person did, I don't know the artist, but I've seen the picture. In fact, we critiqued that picture last week. I forget who it was. Anyway, all that is for them is just play. They're just playing around with shadows there. They aren't working on an actual picture. Like, they're just playing with form and shadow. My suggestion, instead of going for smooth shadows like that, work on composition and form. The reason I say that is because you'll get a lot more effect out of your picture by working on the composition and form to help tell or convey the story of your picture, convey the ideals behind it. It will, at least in my opinion, improve your picture much further than some smooth shadowing. Go look at someone like the Calvin and Hobbes comics. Very simplistic, not highly shadowed, wonderful composition and form, tells a great story. And if you get to that point of being able to fully build up your subject in a quick time and show the viewer what you're actually trying to say, it's going to help you get to that next step of that smooth shadowing a lot quicker, because you're going to have a lot more muscle memory. You're going to have a lot better idea of the situation that your light's coming from, what light sources are interacting with it, and how your character's shapes are. That's just my 2 cents, though. Do we want to quickly go over this pony?
Yeah, I was gonna say another piece of advice in general I have is before even going through all of that, something I see from a lot of people is they're pushing so hard to learn how to draw amazingly. Specifically with this like painterly style, I see a lot of people like just I want to learn how to paint like this, and they're pushing everything they have into learning how to color. I say coloring doesn't even matter until you learn how to draw properly, and you know that takes a while, and you're never going to stop learning. But I think the priority should definitely be on improving the art style above improving your coloring style. Because even you can just put out sketches, just quick rough pencil sketches, and it could be really really good. And you can if you advance your style enough, you can get extremely popular and extremely satisfied with your work just by putting out sketches. I've seen plenty of artists who I love, whose sketches are just absolutely adorable, even without being colored. Whose work I appreciate a lot more than every like beautiful picture of Luna staring off into the night sky or something like that, which you see just all the time. So I think the content of your pictures and just generally working on the anatomy is a lot more important than focusing on building up how you color things. So I'd say, yeah, work on how to build faces and bodies, and you know, Q-Pen's case and I, or Living Dead and I are going at very different styles for the shapes here, but you know, we both have very different styles of drawing. I know he would not be doing the muzzle the way I'm doing it, and I would not be doing the legs the way he's doing those, but that's one of the beauties of art. Everyone has different ways of interpreting things.
Bite me, scrub. Nobody's right. We found our styles, what works for us, based on a whole bunch of decisions made early on and decisions that we happily change throughout the life of our pictures. Find what works for you. Find what gets a consistent, similar subject. If you're always painting horse, you should be able to pound out those horses in no time at all with a consistent, recognizable shape and subject. And they it should all make sense. Oh my god, cute pencil case. What are you doing? Oh no.
It's really silly. Oh my god, we're so silly ponies.
The Tumblr only opened up 2 weeks
ago. I have
ago.
to know, was this something you planned on, or was this just added now?
No, I was doing just a sphere, and then I did a nose, but then I didn't want to do the eyes, because that seemed like I would have to figure out making them symmetrical, so it became a silly.
You gotta update that Tumblr more.
I know, I've been busy. Inktober and uni.
So do an Inktober of the silly.
Maybe next year. Has so many asks there. I wasn't expecting so many people to send asks.
Your cute pencil case, and if someone gives you a banana or something like that, you have to respond.
I already have the banana. I just haven't had time.
You gotta
to answer it.
Respond to that. It's a milestone in doing a Tumblr.
I appreciated mine.
They followed my previous vlog.
Oh, okay.
So they just followed me there. I had another Ask blog before. So.
I'm convinced they're either a bot or they spend their entire life on Tumblr. Anyway, horsey. Of coursey.
So where are we going to next? Or does anyone else have any other points about this?
I don't know what
you're doing with the body there, LD.
I was redrawing the hip, and then I redrew the hip again, because I didn't like how I redrew the hip.
Yeah, anyway. That happens a lot as well. I'll be trying to, you need to draw the body this way, and then I'll draw it, and it's like, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Like, try and do it again. This program's not easy to work with.
No.
We make do.
We always blame the program.
The whole time I've been trying to do shading on this. Not good for
This
painting.
is going to come out extremely uncanny valley.
So, So what I'm trying to do with the hip here is the horse hip, or at least MLP hips, they're very pointy affairs when they start sitting down on their thighs. So I've taken the bone on the leg and made it go up and then
Sitting
come
like
down.
this is always a bit of an anatomical grey area when it comes to ponies.
I mean, horses can actually sit on their butt. It's funny to watch, but they tend not to.
It makes a cute pose for centaurs as well.
Absolutely. So I've just driven the hips upwards as opposed to making them disappear into the body. I know you're trying to show the cutie mark more. That's not going to work for the angle you have, at least with the way the legs are going. You might be able to pull off one by turning the hip inwards, but it's just going to get awkward.
Yeah. A lot of the time, it is very easy to be pushing yourself in an uncomfortable direction with your drawing, specifically because you have something you want to show or you have something else you really like. Take, for example, that ear I drew, which is being covered up by the Fluttershy hair here. It's like, that ear is really nice shape. And then say I had to draw a mane and it's going to cover up half that ear. Or if I drew one on the other side and the whole ear is going to be covered, I would end up doing whatever I could to show even a little bit of the ear, but then I could end up like making the drawing not work very well and making a lot of it kind of a bit painful and broken just because I want to show this thing I drew. And the same thing can go for a lot of things. It can go for cutie marks, or maybe I don't want this wing to cover it as it is. It can be lots of things that end up getting not shown, or that you want to specifically show, even if it means breaking the anatomy a little bit. But a lot of the time you end up just making things way harder for yourself, and it's sort of the case of asking, what do I really want to do with this picture? What am I doing right now? Am I just trying to show something? Like, why do I want that? Is it worth it? Just evaluating what you're trying to accomplish. Someone tried.
All right, shall we move to the next one?
I think so.
Okie dokie. Let's go to the board dashie. So this is Weekly Challenge 47, Board Rainbow Horse. And it's by Lucardo, who's in our chat. Who I should have totally clued in earlier that they're in the chat, but hi. Hi, friend. Friend. Hi, friend.
Speak to us. Hey, this is Heyo.
You got any questions about your board dashie horse?
We'll wait for questions. Unfortunately, any color of lining on Rainbow Dash is not easy. I'm gonna... Even white, she's got the eye whites. Vibrant pink, no pink eyes. So that's why I have this layer. There we go. That makes it easier for us. The colors are all cool, so we'll work on drawing.
Trying to work with the front hooves in more interesting hand-like positions. Any advice how I can improve? I mean, your arm looks pretty good. You could put more weight on that other hoof, like the one that's poking the face. Right now, there's no, because her head's straight up and down, and the hoof's just laid against it. It looks like it's just sitting there against it, rather than her leaning against it. So how you can help with that is take the elbow, place it up on the table by leaning her entire body on a bit of an angle here. We'll use a action line, dun dun dun, for very, very bored action. We're gonna take her body over here.
Like the action, and we just see like the sort of like typical action movie trailers, like at different angles. But it's just her making this bored face and like nothing happening.
Exactly. We're gonna take it and we're gonna do as I say, not as I do. Apparently.
Yeah, it's.
Blame
Get
the
some
software.
cheek
Still
squish.
blaming the software. Yeah,
Cheek squish. I'm helping you here.
that's what I meant. I was gonna take the head and lean it against that arm so you get a nice cheek squish in there, and the plushie in the arms is important too.
Yeah. I would rotate everything I've drawn, but that's not possible on this drawing program.
Yeah, not overly. You can do it, but you can't do all the layers together.
Oh, I'm only on one layer. Can I still do it?
We
Oh
can
wait,
take
I
the.
think I can. Let me just select my pinks, and then I'll just move them. Yeah. Wait, can I? No. Hold on. I'm learning. I can move. I don't think there's a rotate
I
option.
don't think you can rotate.
No.
Unless it's been updated since the last time we tried.
No. It doesn't work.
Oh,
What can
oh, you
do
punk!
is-
Oh. Shit. Space. Nope. There is no rotation, just movement. Yeah, CPC's got it. Just, yeah, lean harder. The goal is to put more weight behind your horse and behind the actions they're doing.
Yeah, it's always a good idea to try and exaggerate and push the posing of drawings if you can. Just find whatever ways you can just make things a bit more animated. You know, it's not obviously animation, but it just means to make things, just make the poses a bit harder, make everything a bit more tightly positioned. You know, raise the arm a little bit more, push the head a little bit more this way, make the eyes a little bit more intense. Whatever works with the particular drawing to make it just feel a bit more lively. And remember that their faces are squishy marshmallows and will mold in shape.
Big, squishy, huggable marshmallows.
I'm actually going to rub out all the stuff I drew and try redrawing his face again with LD's action line. This might take a while to erase.
Just look at CPC's picture. The picture CPC's done next to it, that'll be easier. You see the extra weight.
It's nice to experiment anyway.
Sure.
So I'm going to specifically...
Those little marshmallow heads.
So then we got eyes, and that's going to be cheek squished because of the face. Then we've got the bored expression, nose bridge.
You don't like marshmallows?
I don't know how to write it.
Oh.
I think it's like this.
Marshmallow.
It's
Yeah, that's right.
Google. No.
No, is this one else?
I don't know. All right, Ricardo, you got any further questions for us? Before I have to prove that I can't spell worth a dang. Glad to be of service. Next. Bump. Bump.
I'd not done fluffing.
Thank you, Tendo.
Next picture is by Stamus.
Ooh.
And it's any comments on the sketch. It's a sketch, so don't mind the roughness. Comments. I was saying earlier, it looks like Jin Randa's pictures, which is a good thing because I like his art. I might have a bias though.
Very, very interesting expression work you got going. Very cool. Oh, there's a silly pony happening, I think.
Who's the silly pony?
Applejack.
You answer that so matter-of-factly. What are you talking about?
LT, Jesus.
I do appreciate that you've tried to do like a more dynamic pose here. You got the head leaning forward, the sort of tilted. You got the ears back. I think that's a horn pointed like in our direction. So like seeing it headlong. I don't know if that's the case, or if that's just a bit of hair that's like colored lighter. I don't know.
I think it's
It's
supposed
very
to be a
nice that you
horn.
tried to do a cool pose here.
Yeah, definitely supposed to be a horn. It's just too weird to be anything else.
Yeah, it's just like the angle. It's pointed directly at us.
Bonk. The mismatched eye sizes are really throwing me off here.
Yeah, I think it's. I understand what you've been trying to do, but the
expression.
asymmetrical. Yeah, with the asymmetrical
Yeah,
sort of expression, but I think there's a little bit unbalanced even with that.
What I normally do when I'm trying to do an asymmetrical expression is having a wave like this. So it would be like this eye would be kind of angry. Maybe something like this.
Yeah, let me just get a different color, and you can see that here too. It's like whoa, and then whoa. See that?
Whoa.
Because remember, this is a brow. Like this is where that expression is coming from. This middle part here is being pushed downwards. Imagine if they had this unibrow. You know, you'd be able to see that.
I got one of those. They're great. They keep the middle of your forehead warm.
Oh, I can't undo now. Great. Thank you, draw pile.
No problem.
I'm gonna partially erase that so it's like subtle, and I'll redraw the pink in.
I'm trying to figure out what this front hoof's supposed to be doing.
I do not understand the color switching in draw pile. I have nobody like it'll just go to different colors entirely. Has anyone else figured out how this even works?
Just ignore it till it goes away.
It's like a certain color, and I'll press X to switch colors, and it'll go to a different one. Then I'll switch X to go back, and it'll switch to a completely different color.
I have no idea.
I didn't even
It just
realize
switched colours
hitting
again.
X does anything.
Well, X is supposed to be like switch colors, which it seems to do, but then it gets the wrong colors.
Huh. Well, today I learned that X
You
is a
didn't know that,
hotkey.
like you didn't know that in like every drawing program ever, X switches your colors.
Nope.
Yeah, you can do the same in
Photoshop, Psy, Clip Studio,
Clip Studio, yeah.
Medibang, Adobe, everything. Everything I've ever used always uses X to switch. The thing that throws me off is how Clip Studio can give you transparency if you press C. So then, like, oh,
Yeah, I keep turning this upside
Yeah.
down because of it.
yeah, exactly. Press C to go transparent, and it flips it upside down on this one.
I feel like I should be abusing my hotkeys more, but my keyboard's pushed away from my tablet.
See, this is why like I'm struggling to draw, because it would be super comfortable if I could just sit back with my tablet and just use that. And yes, it has hotkey, it has the buttons alongside the tablet, but I'm so not used to using them, and I've got like the muscle memory in like the keyboard shortcut, so like it's just so much easier to use the keyboard. I don't think I have anything specifically for now, so I'm going to be right back.
Miss him already. I don't have much more to say. I just do a little correction to the legs, mostly in just how they're placed. That front leg, really weird, but I mean, very fixable. What do you think of the tail position? It's fine if the goal is to swoosh it to the left of the picture. It's a very fluffy tail, but that's fine. it is appreciated that it's still behind the legs, because people love to show off their fluffy tails. Yeah, I got nothing else to say about this, though.
I don't.
All right, then. We're going to move on to the next picture, unless if anyone
You
else...
have the next picture?
Yours.
Oh.
I hadn't pasted on the thing, because it was submitted late. No.
It's a surprise.
Think of a pocket picture. Because I had it in my pocket. All right.
Pony in the pocket.
I have 2 pocket ponies. No, yes, 2. I gave a third one away.
Oh. I have Ali's Pinky. The first one she did.
It's adorable.
It's so precious.
It has
Anyway.
to follow you.
So this is my this was just like a warm-up picture from a couple of days ago. So obviously very rough and garbage. And you know, obviously I could do much better in a warmed up state, but I thought it'd be good. Easy pickings for analyzing bodies. The faces I'm mostly fine with, but bodies are poop. So I kind of like this wing. This was just like, here's a wing. And it kind of worked.
Blah, wing.
Yeah.
Okay, well I don't like the no. Ears.
You're really pushing to have that other ear in. Be like here.
What is going on? My opacity's down. That's why.
This is where I imagine the ear, just because of how like 3D shape. But oh, you could have them like poking out at different directions though. That's adorable.
Yeah.
Thunk. Wait. Thunk.
That's a bit much.
Little bunny ears.
I gotta do that like ears to different directions thing more, because it's always really cute. I used to do it a lot with like front facing. Yeah, so this is what I mentioned a minute ago. Is worth elaborating on for those who haven't heard us talk about it before. Warm-up drawings. As I think, particularly the more you get into drawing, the more you realize this. But you're not always just going to pick up pen and paper, your drawing program and tablet, whatever, and just immediately start. That is cute. That's a cute little choker. And
Bow tie.
You're going to be able to pick up things and immediately start drawing to your best of ability. I think a lot of times it takes warm-ups. So what a lot of us here like to do is just get some doodles out of the way, just to jump straight into it and not think too hard or get hung up on every little bit of anatomy you can't do right, because it just shakes things up and gets the mojo out, and then you can get warmed up to drawing. That's a cute tie.
Well, I mean, you have to be dressed up.
Yay, fluff.
And it helps contain some of the fluff.
Appeared in the fixing of the body that happened.
Not okay, I need the...
Is Fluttershy supposed to be like... Why is her butt down? Like, is your character taller?
I guess she was meant to be in like a partial sitting position, I don't know. I think I initially sort of wanted more of a sort of above and below slightly thing going on, but it didn't come out, it came out sort of the same level.
I think because their heads are basically level with each other. If you were to turn yours down more, so turn down for what on this angle, and then turn hers up, so it's like an upward nuzzle as opposed to just being nearly flat, you're able to further emphasize that she's stretching out and he's leaning down, which is adorable. And adorable's the name here.
Yeah, this is kind of what I was imagining.
Where?
I guess.
where?
I wasn't really sure. Like I was saying, it was just like me throw it out. Because bodies weren't really initially going to be part of it. It's going to cut off here. But I was like, here's some bodies. Woo, bean.
Woo, bean! If the pink one's what you're imagining, I'm not getting that at all. because her butt's in the air.
No, I'm just exploring with other potential body shapes.
Ah.
Here. Oh, but no, down here, I think is what I was initially trying. Or I don't know. It's sort of going halfway. That's probably a bit too much. I think it's sort of like halfway, like she's kind of in a half sitting. I don't know. Like, kind of, yeah. So sort of like a little bit stretched, I guess.
Sure.
These tools. So it's still sort of on the hooves, but just leaning back, I guess. I don't know.
Because lean back. Lean back. No? Okay. Oh wait, stranger's here. I can't sing songs.
Can't sing.
Or it has to be completely original songs. Or I have to convince them that it's completely original.
We have to just write our own songs.
That's it.
MLPDS musical episode for the 200th.
We did the musical episode. It was filled with flags.
No, I mean, like, we have to just write our own original score of musicals and sing them as we critique.
It's gonna be really hard if we don't know what we're gonna get beforehand.
It's easy. We'll just fake it. We'll actually just have images ready in advance.
Ah.
And just pretend we got them.
So we'll talk about the fluff. We'll talk about ears, and we'll talk about. All right. Anyone else have any art they'd like to submit? Any other questions they'd like to ask? Any other ponies they'd like Fluffy's Eye to draw for them in his spare time? No. Yes, you can get him to do that. You just have to pay him. So you're going to talk about pink fluffy unicorns. Yes, and their fact that they dance on rainbows.
Yes.
I mean, we're coming up to our 150th.
It's a little known fact that unicorns can walk on rainbows. They just can never get to them because they keep moving away the closer they get.
The secret is you have to sneak up on a rainbow. That's how you catch it.
No, I'm just imagining Twilight just sneaking up on Rainbow Dash and she's like, and then Twilight's like, pounces on her and Rainbow's like, ah! Reaches out into the sky. Or like Pinkie Pie, probably more like...
I ship it.
Trying to jump on Rainbow.
Pinkie Pie
with a horn
hold
attached.
up a paper horn.
We all know Pinkie Pie is a unicorn. She just has an inverted horn.
It's an innie.
Alright, well, if there's no other pictures being thrown our way, thank you all for coming, and we'll see you again next week. Assuming no hurricanes wipe us out. Or zombie invasions, or
portals open to Equestria, because you'll know we'll just be gone. We're never coming back.
Yeah.
I have to finish uni. I have a lot of assignments. I don't know if I can go to Equestria.
In Equestria, there is no serious homework.
Yeah, exactly.
They have a friendship school that is longer than a few weeks.
Your homework is just like hugging someone and singing songs together.
And learning to kick an apple tree.
And making friendship cards.
And being an adorable dragon. Just so adorable. Smolder, man. Alright, thank you all, and bye.